Sheeds disappointing not to get the win in the end, but much improved performance, particularly in the first half.
Yeah, g'day Josh. Yeah, definitely. First half footy was, what it needs to look like for our footy club, and I thought the ability to share the ball and to, deny the Eagles the footy that periods of time and played in our front half. I think the first half was 65% in our front half, and I think at the end of the day we just couldn't capitalise. I think it was 15 scoring shots to 6 or 7 at half time, and I guess when you keep teams in games and with momentum these days in footy, once a team hits it, it's hard to pull that back. So yeah, boys were really good, and there was some good signs there, but just wasn't for long enough.
Yeah, how much did you like in that first half? I mean, when you move the football, it plays with that spark and positivity. You must have loved to see that.
Yeah, it was what we've trained all summer, so it was good to. Wasn't much of it round one, so it was really good to see a lot of positives come out from round two, and yeah, I think that first half of our footy is hopefully what our members and supporters and the boys will produce more throughout the year.
Yeah, for sure. And then after half time, what do you put that down to? They obviously lifted their intensity and attack on the ball, and they had the momentum and just couldn't rein it back in.
Yeah, we went into the game with a few key matchups, and I think we'd done them really well at half time, and then as opposition coaches do, they probably throw the magnets around a little bit when they're when you're not in the game as such, and so they did that, and I felt the players that they put in them positions had a big impact on the game, through Adam Deloya to Pierce Seymour, who was having a big impact in our back half, and then we tried things, and so it was a bit of a game of chess there for a while. But I think at the end of the day, they won a fair bit of footy around contest and around CB. Jordan Lukac did a really good job for them in the ruck, and grabbed out of the ruck a couple of times, kicked it forward, and which resulted in goals, and they got a bit of momentum off that.
Pierce's first half was fantastic, I thought. A few really key moments on the last line of defence, but also ripping kicks through the middle of the ground.
Yeah, he's had a great pre-season. His balance to be able to come off his man and impact, but also play one-on-one on his man when he needed, and defend was really strong throughout the whole game. So looking forward to him continually getting better as the season goes on as well. Yeah,
and you've spent a lot of time obviously coaching at the Eagles as well. How much has he actually developed his game, over the years?
Yeah, a lot. He's developed his conditioning, I think, first and foremost. I think he runs a 6:25, 6:32k now, which is PB for him. So, I guess when you get your body in that type of condition, then your footy can flourish off that.
And you ended up winning, it was a game of momentum, but ended up overall winning disposals, marks, clearances, inside 50s. You win most of those games, don't you, normally?
Traditionally, you would say yes. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, look, the stats were good. Stats aren't everything all the time. It comes down to crucial moments, and they won them better. They nailed goals on the run, and we missed a few set shots early that probably kept them in the game. So, like I said, in that first half, we were coming pretty hard around keeping the ball in our forward half. We just couldn't capitalise on it, and they defended well and got numbers back, and so it was a bit of a game in our forward half, and we couldn't capitalise, and they did pretty well to hold us off. And then when they got their opportunity, it wasn't the same the other way. So there's plenty of things to keep working on. Yeah,
and Jackson Kelly had a massive impact in that first quarter, and probably speaking to that inaccuracy, he had 7 disposals, 5 marks, and then but kicked 1 goal, 2 I think from 3 scoring shots. Your side is better when he is commanding the footy, isn't it?
Yeah, and young Marco Donazio played his first game in the ruck this week, and that Marco wasn't available round one, and that allowed us to have a little bit more structure ahead of the footy. So there were some good signs around what that looked like, keeping Tristan, Finn and Jackson ahead of the ball, and get Isaac Twelfthry back for Sturt as well. So just keep building our list, and in that front half in particular, and make it really hard for opposition to defend us.
Yeah, I actually thought that your, particularly in the first half, forward structure and defensive structure was really, really good, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I guess you can do that when you play in your front half a lot. You'd be able to set back behind the footy how we wanted to set up, and keep the ball in our front half. So yeah, it was really positive.
And Jane Gale probably played his best game for the club, 3 goals and 16 disposals.
Yeah. Well, obviously being new, didn't know much about Garley, but knew that he was spoken very highly about at the footy club, and played some games of league footy last year and had a terrific summer, and big believer in to keep going forward as a footy club, you need these kids to keep coming in and getting better, and he's definitely one over the pre-season that's had a really big impact and plays a certain role for us. It's a pretty hard role, but where some games he can not touch the footy a lot, but on the weekend he really capitalised and we maximised on him in his position.
Yeah, 2 rounds in and had a lot of players that have come off the injury list and still on the injury list. How much does match fitness mean to the likes of Rokar and O'Neill building throughout the season, hopefully peaking later in the year?
It's an interesting one. I think continuity with List is big, and playing together is a big thing, especially a couple of them key midfielders, and they just haven't been able to play together or really put together a lot of a pre-season. So we feel we've just got to keep playing our way for as long as we can and keep building with that. And I guess when we get a full complement of List back as well, and we're playing the right way, then we just keep building throughout the year. What it looks like in terms of win-losses, no one knows just yet, but I know that we'll keep building and be stronger each week.
Yeah, it's an interesting one this week with Gather Round and the week off. What's the plan for your side?
It was probably coming a good time to give a few, of the players that might be a bit iffy another week, like most clubs will be in. So there's no training tonight, being Monday night, and then we train Tuesday, Thursday, and have a pretty big session on Saturday, and then roll into next week against Sturt on Easter Thursday. Yeah,
and you're hoping to get a few of those names back, Twelvetree and Sermon and a few more?
Yeah, Twelvetree, Sermon and Lord should all be up for selection, so that is a good thing. Lordy just has to see how he can go with his hand and making sure that he can start touching some footies, and Isaac and Luke have been a work in progression for the last couple of weeks. They've been touch and go each week. It's just about making sure they can get the loads in and that we're comfortable with them getting through a full game.
Yeah, excellent. Thanks, James.
Thanks, Josh.